Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today with... Oh, there we go. There we go. There it is. I was going to say H.A.M Radio Podcast episode 243, but I was like, no, we're going to say episode 243, and I overthought it. I jinxed myself moments before this podcast, but...
You just got to relax, man.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I'm sure you guys can hear the golden voice himself.
I love it.
There we go.
5 years.
I know. It's
5
been
years.
Way
like,
too long.
I know. It's like yesterday.
Yeah, I was reminiscing, like I said, and listening to some of our shows. We had such a great time, and I was like, why wasn't this a more frequent occasion? So I promised my viewers weeks ago, I was like, I swear, we're going to get some really good special guests, and I started off with you. I was like, we got to get number one.
I'm honored.
Back on the show. Yeah,
I'm number one. Holy
yeah,
mackerel.
Absolutely number one. Absolutely. Now, normally when I do interviews and discussions with high-profile figures like yourself at any time, I normally have like a list of questions, but I know with us chatterboxes, this shouldn't be much of an issue. So I'm just going in raw here.
Do it.
What have you been up to? What have you been doing, man?
Just living life, grinding it out. My usual go-to thing is just, hey man, living life, grinding it out, doing the thing. It's just life. I audition. I love when people. It's funny. You wanna have a mystical story, well, after the last time we talked, I moved in with Todd Howard, and we built a golden castle together. No, it's after. Wow, it really has almost been 5 years.
Right.
Yeah, it's just life continues. Jobs come up. I'm still working.
Good.
Good. You still work. I've had some fun jobs over the years and little different things here and there. But yeah, it's just I'm still here, Matthew. I'm still alive, so it's good. But yeah, I mean, I could get into details, but mainly just living here in Los Angeles with my beautiful wife and my 4 boys, and everything's
Family's
good.
Doing well.
Family's doing real well. Yeah, we
good.
No shortness of breath, no fevers, no coughing. I mean, we talked about in the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. We had a day planned, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen because everything is closed.
Exactly, man. That's what's happening around here too.
Virus weekend. I did the new tradition apparently, which is the inaugural watch Contagion from 2011, and my wife and I did that last night. Have you seen that movie?
No, I was gonna say that sounds like based off the name though. Great timing.
Oh, it's a horror show at the beginning of the movie. I mean, Soderbergh, just every surface that's touched by every infected hand and nose, it's disgusting. It's awesome. It was stayed up late for me, by the way, is like 11 o'clock. So I stayed up.
I was about to I know.
I stayed up until the equivalent for you of 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Which was 11 o'clock.
What's funny is I was up till 4 last.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What were you doing, if you don't mind me asking?
No, you're fine. I was just playing, this game just came out, Neo 2, and it has a multiplayer mode in it that I had not tried out. And so at like midnight, my friends are like, all right, let's hop into this. Probably a bad idea because you just lose track of time. I swear that's not why I was late, by the way. I was actually, I'm a horrible early riser. Like for me, getting up at 10 is considered early rising for most.
Oh, I figured, okay. Well, yeah, 7 o'clock my time was the original date. And I thought, no, Matt'll be up. He'll be up. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. But to be young. To be young, Matthew.
Most days I am up around this time, but as of late, things have just slowed down where you don't have to like sprint out of your house. So I've just been like, all right, I guess I'll sleep till 11. And yeah, like you said, to be
millennials sleep until 11.
I know. So you said you've just been up to things. Life's continued on. No magical tale. I guess we can talk gigs, if you will. Has there been? Was that a cough? Uh-oh.
Forgive me. I'm sorry. Yes, I coughed.
I'm kidding.
I'm shortness of breath. I can't. I shouldn't really. Is it too soon? No. I shouldn't be joking about that. But yes, no. Yeah, that was a cough. But that was a throat clear. I'm having a second cup of coffee.
Oh my!
But
See, I can't get into coffee. You know, I've watched my girlfriend deteriorate over coffee. You know, she goes back and forth with it. She's so addicted to it. She needs it to be awake and be alert. But yet, she's trying to step away from that life. And
why does like her hand shakes at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and she needs another cup or something like that?
Let's just put it this way. Like I was out with her just this past Monday. And she's just normal energy level. She gets her coffee and she was off the friggin' walls after that. Like she was like shaking my arm, like look, like just completely different human being. It was incredible, and it's why I love her. But it was also like one of those moments where I was like, Jesus, man, like the coffee is just a make or break for her. And I don't know if that's the same case for you. You said you're on your second cup.
Yeah, I'm gonna get all coked up hopefully in a couple minutes. I want to bounce off the walls myself because it's funny, like we'll get up, my wife and I'll get up, we'll prep for the day, and I'm on my second cup of coffee. I'll be just bending her ear talking a mile a minute, and she's like, we got to get ready for the day, can you stop please? I'm like, I'm sorry, yeah, I know, I'm all caffeinated, but
there we go.
But yeah, second cup of coffee, that was the cough. What did you want? Forgive me. What did you want to talk about?
No, you're fine. I was gonna say like any specific gigs maybe that have come up since old Fallout 4 back when think of it this way, man. Like it's crazy how long ago it was. I was 18. You can even see it in my Skype photo right now. No facial hair. Brian, I have facial hair now. I've grown up a little bit.
I got to be honest with you. I cyber stalked you for 20 minutes a couple days ago, and you look like this long-haired, frosted, young millennial Bond villain.
Am I looking good?
You look slick, man. You look
right.
slick. I like that little practical special effect edit where I think it's one of your main videos where like you're talking like hey man, I got this whole plan. Yeah. And then like you do that little edit where you come out of the bedroom. I'm like, took out Maddie. Look at that.
Isn't that crazy how things have changed? Back in 2015, I was only talking Bethesda stuff. And here we are now. Like the joke is that character is Mr. Bethesda. Just
okay.
to preface it all, they've made some questionable consumer-based decisions. So anytime I try to be the evil villain, my joke character is him. I throw on a little sports jacket, put on the aviators.
He's your dark past. He's like your
yes, essentially.
So wait,
he's
what's
my
with
alter ego?
He's Mr. Bethesda because of why? They made some dubious blah, blah, blah. What?
Yeah, they've made some questionable consumer-focused decisions. And so they announced, like, for example, have you followed, like, Fallout 76 and everything, out of curiosity?
Very lightly. I mean, I ran into people that were a part of it in town. But, like, I haven't – I did look it up a while back. And, I saw what you saw. I saw what you probably talked about.
Right.
Can you delve into what happened there? Because I didn't do any voice work on it, but like I said, I crossed paths with a couple of people, and they said, "Well, okay, So talk to me about it.
What's great is that the voice part is probably the best part of the game, right? Because essentially you were a part of what is now the last great Fallout game. So congrats on that, because what happened with 76 is when it came out, it was online only. So in Fallout 4 it was single player, your traditional Fallout experience in a number of ways. 76 was completely online, and it came out and it was literally non-functioning. Pardon me. It was not functioning though. So it was broken, and Bethesda took a very long time to get on fixing it. And around the time I feel it started to see some actual progress, which was, mind you, like a year later, which is a very long time for games, they announced this whole program called Fallout First. And during that program, what would have you do is pay, I think it was, I want to say $15 a month for some access to content in game that kind of gave you an edge in the gameplay. And it would essentially be, I think, that or $100 a year. Which was kind of just outrageous for the state of the game. I will say I feel now it's turned a corner because they're releasing this expansion that kind of turns it into a traditional Fallout game. But yeah, it's just been a very, very rocky road since its release, and they've kind of consistently talked up the game, even though, like, and I'm a huge Fallout fan, that. Like, I love Fallout, and even I've sat there and been like, man, this really isn't looking too hot, and they still kind of kept sticking their head in the sand. So that's where the character was born from. He used to be Mr. Activision, But you see, like, I was just like, everyone likes to punch Activision at this point. I was like, I need something a little more unique. So I switched to Mr. Bethesda. And, my audience got a kick out of it. And so, I don't like to be that guy who, kicks them around the corner constantly for some extra viewership. I like to, talk about them when it's sensical. But, that's where my little character was born.
Wow. Well, I have no idea why Lone wouldn't be allowed to show up on your show then. Hey, Lone, can you give some credence from Bethesda, Australia, New Zealand for Mr. Bethesda, because that would make sense. I can't imagine, Matt.
Guilty by association.
I know, right? Well, yeah, I didn't hear too much about any of the problems. I mean, to me, it looked. What I saw online it looked pretty. It looked just as pretty or prettier than Fallout 4. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I heard like at first there were no NPCs or something like that, and then that was a thing. And then I have a great memory of Bethesda, so I'm going to say it was a Herculean task and multiplayer. Having basically like a huge multiplayer Fallout game, which is traditionally a kind of a literally lone kind of enterprise, no pun intended. Probably was new ground that they wanted to just tackle. And I'm not going to badmouth them, Mr. Bethesda.
No, of course.
You can't hypnotize
me. I would not want to push you in that. Yeah, I would not want to push you in that direction.
No, I am just.
So, like I said, gigs. Like, what have you been doing to pay the bills? Anything significant roll through the door since you?
Well, I have a little fruit stand that I walk around town, and I sell my oranges and my cut watermelon.
All right.
No.
Oh.
Lately, do you ever play Destiny?
I do not.
You don't play Destiny? Well, I do a voice in a Destiny 2 expansion. What else?
Oh man, there's so much to go through. That's
a
little flex there. What else?
What else?
Parse through my vast catalog.
I don't. It's mostly it's a lot of additional voice work on like animation stuff.
Okay.
I don't even. What other games? I'm checking my. This is sad. I'm checking my. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, I noticed online. I am not in Halo Infinite, by the way.
I was
told. That's
an
error. I have done no voice work for Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I was told to ask you about that, and I was like, "Is he in that?" I was, because I remember you were in Halo 4, I believe, right, or Halo 5.
Yeah, Halo 4 and 5, but not this latest iteration. No, I'm not in that. But mostly just like grenade. Lots of.
You're good at that. That was instantaneous. It's funny. I play obviously so many games, and the one I was just playing last night is a perfect example, right? You're playing as this character who doesn't talk, but in combat, you make the and I'm just like, I hear those noises, and I think to myself like, man, it's gotta be. They make it sound so effortless, like you just did, and I can't fathom doing that. I think I'm a little nasally of a child, so I think I need to grow out of that a little bit. Maybe then I can take it on. But I mean,
you just got to get that diaphragmatic muscle into it, baby. Like grenade, down. It's
jeez,
when you've been doing it for as long as. But yeah, mostly that. Mostly, I did like Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Days Gone. That was no yelling though. I was mostly just like vendors and background voice work on that. But Metro Exodus, I did some religious zealot crazies worshiping a fish or something like that.
I had this weird moment where I was playing the Hitman and I was doing a mission, and I heard a character, and this is the first Hitman that came out in 2016. I was playing a little bit after that. And there was this one character, it was like an Italian, I think, chef or something. And it was definitely you. Do you recall this role at all?
A chef?
I think it was a chef.
Like, was his name Silvio?
Yeah.
Okay, that was me. Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, and I think you were the target at that point in the mission. And,
Right.
I think I poisoned your food or something, and
Oh, nice. You went stealth?
yeah, you had this hilarious line where you were like, "Oh, Jesus Christ," like, and like follow your character around. I'm just hearing you just mumble to yourself the whole way. It was incredible. It felt like real life.
That was that was a fun role. That was a fun role. That was a lot of like like he had a lot of tics and like I'm going to get you. Like that kind of stuff. It was very fun to do. That was a fun job.
Nice.
Shout out to Amy Mortellaro on that one, getting me that job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Voice casting.
How do you roll into some of those jobs? Is it usually of your own volition, your own talent, or is it more like you have an agent?
They mystically arrive on my
I was gonna
computer,
say,
and I just
do you just get an email?
Well,
sometimes that's how it works for me. Like I'll get an email and they'll be like opportunity, and they'll be like, come fly out to this event and go play this game for advanced coverage, and it just happens.
They fly you out to places.
Yes, sometimes they do.
I've
grown so much. Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
anyway, in your case, do you just get the fateful email?
This is how it works for most people. And sometimes there's jobs where in voiceover, I'm a journeyman voice actor. I'm just a regular Joe. But it's really the same for most people, even great voice actors. Sometimes there's legacy jobs where if you're the voice of Mickey Mouse, you're the voice of Mickey Mouse until you're not the voice of Mickey Mouse anymore. And You're just constantly that role. But most of the time, it's the same for everybody. Your agent sends you copy, says, please submit. It's a number of people going up for the role. Even within some of the bigger agencies, you'll have a number of actors going for the same role. Excuse me, I have to burp. There we go. But yeah, the copy comes in. There's the deadline to submit. You send it to your agent. The agent submits it in a package, and most of the time you don't hear stuff. Sometimes you get booked and you get it. Lately, I've been doing a little more animation than I ever have, which was really nice. I was in a number of this is non-game related, but for years I was doing basically additional voices for a lot of Illumination projects like the Minions and Despicable Me and Secret Life of Pets and stuff. Yeah, there's a number of like animals and people that I got to do, which was awesome. And the people that I was in the session with were like, "Holy crap, this guy's a legend. This gal's a legend. This is amazing," So that was pretty awesome. That dates back to 2014 or 2013 or something like that.
Is there a different approach when you're doing animation versus gaming? Because we can talk about animation. It just we just want to talk about Brian. Like, what's Brian up to? Not Brian the gamer, but just Brian.
Well, honestly, I'm still on my first playthrough of Fallout 4, to be honest.
God.
It takes a long time. I've got other things, but yeah, that's the only game. I tried playing other games, but I bought like Spider-Man for the kids. I wanted to play for the kids and to show them. And I'm a fan of Yuri Lowenthal, and he was awesome as Spider-Man, and everybody else was great. But I just didn't have the time to just delve into the whole thing, so I had to shelve it. But yeah, the animation-wise, it is different. I had an audition. Oh man, it was months ago. I've been doing video games so long that I scare small children, and and what I mean by that is I had this audition for an animated thing that was kind of in like the what was it? Was it the DC universe or the Marvel? It was a Marvel kind of universe, younger audience kind of television program. And I go in to do the audition, and I do. It's a villain, and I was doing a villain, and the big casting director said, she's like really prolific. She leans over and looks through the window at me in the booth, and she goes, "You do a lot of video games, don't you?" And I go,
"Oh my gosh,
yes. Why?" And she goes, "Okay, that's very you need to lighten them up a little bit." And I'm thinking, okay, they probably wanted like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you," and I was giving them, "I'm going to kill you," like, and a little more
foreboding.
Yeah, so there is a difference, obviously, with the audience of the program and stuff like that, and I I had to hit a different pocket. I don't know why I thought I was lightening it up, but nope, I had to take that adjustment and lighten it up even more. And you do different things, like you you make your voice a little more endearingly evil, I guess, if that's the right term. But yeah, with a lot of the movie stuff, though, a lot of it, especially like the Despicable Me and Secret Life of Pets stuff, sometimes they want silly, sometimes they want a little more grounded, even if like in the additional, other, unnamed characters around the world. But there's a different approach to all of it. With Call of Duty, it's, they want heightened realism. It's funny, with video games, like I have some relatives, my brother was in the military, and he would show me, videos, and I'd see training. And, if you ever want to see how they really act, watch Act of Valor from like 10 years ago. A lot of the guys that I've talked to in my brother's circle that during that time, that's how animated you get. No more. And it's kind of like, check, moving up. Okay. All right. And like, you can't do that for a Call of Duty video game because that doesn't sound like you're saying anything. Right. So Call of Duty wants heightened, emotional realism. So you get into that, and it's just what we said. Grenade! Like you sound. You gotta
People
sound.
People are gonna
like,
think I'm just throwing sound bites in. I guarantee it. They'd be like, "What the fuck was that?"
Uh-oh. But yeah, it's sometimes you gotta go covering fire. And you just need to sound like that. You have to cut through all the other sound effects, explosions, sound, ambient noise or the other screaming. But yeah, mostly it's that's war video games. That's Soldier Number 1, 2, and 3. With video games, it was a little more. Video games that aren't Call of Duty, there was a little more play. Like when I still have Fallout 4 jostling around in my mind, and you have all the vendors in that. Some of them were funny and quirky. Some of them were. You have Sheffield, who was fun and goofy, and then you have Mr. Gutsy, who's like gunnery sergeant out there, and it's fun. And then you have, Piper, who was realistic and endearing, and then you have others. Yeah, everybody's a little different on that. You have a little bit more of a wider pocket. But with animation, it's just sometimes it's just blow out your silliness at the mic and have a lot of fun. I did a lot of voices in. Like I said, Secret Life of Pets was fun because I got to be like 9 different animals in that movie. And it was like, oh, that's really cool. I had never gotten to do that before. And I get to work with people who are on, big cartoons. And the guy who plays Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2 is like standing next to me. And I'm like, this is so cool. This is awesome.
Yeah, that's an awesome moment.
Yeah,
wow.
That's awesome. That was years ago, but still.
Well, yeah, but have you ever had the repeat of what we talked about one time with having to take a little Philly off? That always stuck with me, and I have no idea why. Like Cal telling you to take a little Philly off.
Right. Not necessarily, because when I'm doing Screaming Grenade, or as you've been getting a kick out of Grenade, like that. There's no accent that anybody can discern, really.
That's true.
There's no regionalism. With Fallout 4, it was one of those things where I would be speaking so like intimately with people. Sometimes
that's true.
Sometimes it would be like, yo, Kate, ease up on it, And Cal would have to go, you sounded totally regional. Can you not do that and take a little Philly off that one? And I'm like, oh, okay. I will sound perfectly Midwestern. So yeah, that sometimes can happen, but not when it's like, hey, how are you doing now? Okay. Well, like I don't have to take any Philly off of that because that's just out there.
Yeah,
but
you just kind of shoot it.
Yeah,
okay.
But Fallout 4 was different because there were thousands and thousands of lines that most of which it's not all I've just injected myself with Psycho. Most of it was like, conversational, and I can sound a lot like my hometown.
Okay. So one question I get a lot, feel free to dive into this as much as you'd like, by the way, is about the Twitter operation. You used to be very active on Twitter. Would you believe me if I said I get asked to this day? They're like, people act like I'm your personal manager. They're like, Matty, where's Brian? I'm just like, I don't know.
10%. There you go. You got your 10%. There you go. What's your question? What's your question, Matthew?
My question would be, I guess, we know you shut down your Twitter account, and I don't think it was for like any personal reasons as far as I remember. But if it is, we can just skip over it.
I was threatened. My children were threatened. My wife was. No, none of that happened. I bagged Twitter and I thought it was going to be temporary, but I decided to just never go back. Twitter became what Twitter can become if you just. It's not my job to be on Twitter, and I was convinced, it's a portal, and I started to become very obsessed with it because I was active on Twitter because I had kind of a reason to be, but not really. Like I was a part of something that had an audience, and for about a year and a half, I was like mad on Twitter, especially in the from July of 2015 to when I left in 2016, and it became like a thing that I was kind of like on all the time and interacting with all the time, and then it started to affect my mood, and I'm like, this isn't, I can't do this anymore. I've just shushed my kid 3 times trying to do a spell check on a tweet to a guy in Australia, not loan, but and I had to walk away from it, and I just did. I shut down that. I shut down the Facebooky thing and the Instagram and everything else, and I'm probably never going to come back because.
No, I wouldn't blame you.
I just, it became a thing. It became a thing. Some people can, like your job. There's podcasters I listen to, 1 or 2. Like their job is to be interactive in social media. Your job is entirely to be interactive on social media. For me, it became one of those things, and this is kind of I guess a mild insight. When I wasn't on it, before I booked Fallout 4. Because on Fallout 4 and the recordings, even before, my involvement was even known by anybody, I was, nothing, no followers or anything like that. Before that, everybody was saying everybody is everybody. I mean, even a hairstylist told me one time, "Oh, you're going to be in that." Okay, well, if you're in a big project, you're an actor. You got to get on Twitter. You got to get on Instagram, and even people involved with Fallout 4, people I'd crossed paths with. In the recording of it, they're like, "No, you gotta get on. You need it to get work." I've gotten work since, and it's after I left, and I was convinced I needed to be on it. And while it was a wild ride to be on it for that time, it became, honestly, me personally, it became kind of a distraction. And like I said, it was just like, kids, I don't love you as much. Leave me alone. I'm tweeting. Like that's not who I want to be. So I had to get off. Some people thrive on it. Some people don't. I'm one of the second category. And that's that. I guess it's a bummer, but I couldn't have maintained that level of activity and maintained sanity as well. So I let it go.
I totally get that. For me, my job demands it, but I've always talked to my girlfriend about it because I, much like you, I go back and forth with Twitter. But I've talked to my girlfriend about it, and she was like, "Why don't you just step away from Twitter?" I'm like, I kind of can't. Said I really can't stand it because especially now, anytime you sign in, it's just such a doom and gloom environment. And I just kind of made more of a conscious effort personally to just sort of yank myself out of the mess and just kind of, I just hop in, I talk about whatever I need to talk about. Maybe sometimes I'll scroll through my feed, but I've just kind of, detached a little bit because.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because there's a certain amount of input for me that I want to handle, and I kind of treat it just as a part of my job because it's a pretty good avenue for information passing by for if I'm going to make a video or something.
That's true.
So for me, I'll hop in, I'll see what's going on, and then I'll sign off. For me, I've tried to not stick to it as long as I used to. I used to, much like you, scroll for a while and make sure I put a ton of attention into it. And then I realized I made progress when the other day I went on and I realized I hadn't posted something in 3 days, and I was like, well, my channel's still doing well, people are still interacting with me, so I guess I don't want to say this is not a fundamental part of building the business, so to speak, but yeah, it kind of made me feel a little better about being able to step away, because social media, even the positive pressures can kind of weigh on you, kind of like it seems may have happened with you in a sense, where for me, you want to interact with everybody, but you can't give everybody attention, and that's not for us to say we're so famous, but we're just more so saying like there's a lot of you and one of us, and so yeah, it can be tough in that manner as well. So I just wanted to make sure we got the question answered, because just so many people still ask me about it.
Years later, really?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, yeah, people love you, man, whether you realize it or not. I mean, they are huge fans of you. You are a genuine, awesome guy, and you have a infectious personality. You really do.
Well, wow, man. Thank you. That's well, thank you very much. I'm embarrassed. I need to tweet something. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's a decision I had to make, and it is what it is. And honestly, I'm convinced, but it's a personal viewpoint, but I'm convinced whatever, any social media can be toxic. So I wanted to say no to that. And if by the way, if that meant that I would lose work in some way, I was at peace with, I'm at peace with not getting work. I don't think I still get copy. I have great agency. I'm with a great agency with great agents. And, years ago, I remember when I first started doing voiceover and I first started doing gaming and stuff like that, who were the big gaming people? Well, one of them was Jennifer Hale. So I'd look up, I looked up Nolan North. I looked up, other people, Jennifer Hale, Yuri Lowenthal. And when I saw an interview years ago with Jennifer Hale, and they asked, so how do you, because there's this, with the gaming community, like voice actors are, the A-list voice actors are like Nolan North and Troy Baker and, and it's one of those things where like there's this persona where like, or this, sense that like, I was going to say the Harvey Weinstein of gaming, but I'm not going to talk about it. Not him, but like, the big producers of games that are like legendary producers call up voice actors or call up their agents and offer them roles. And like I said, years ago, when they asked, and it was like a video interview. It was a very nice interview. There was a set. It was a podcast I think it was a podcast that was very, very cool looking. And it was like, wow, okay. And she's a guest, and they ask, how do you get your roles? And I think you guys may have asked that. And I said, I audition. She said, I audition for every one of them. And I'm like, really? Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know that it never stops. Something may have changed. That was 10 years ago. But, excuse me, something may have changed for her. But for me, in my mind, I'm like, you have to audition. Auditioning is the job. And even if, like I've been on jobs, and I won't say who the actors were, but, they, to me, were like big to me. And by the way, not just video gaming, but other jobs. And I'm like, they auditioned for this. Wow. Okay. Well, and it's not slagging them off. It's like, this is what it is. How do you get jobs? You audition. The perception back 5 years ago for me that I wanted to reject, but I kept getting, honey poured in my ear, like, you need to get on Twitter, you need to get on social media, that like it'll help your career.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I don't believe that it did. Now that's personal. That's my personal viewpoint. I don't believe that it did, only because it came at a cost. That's the first half. And the second half is you still got to audition. I'm never going to have 20 million followers. And, when you look at the internet and the tides and the trends and, like the internet is, when somebody says I saw it on the internet, to this day, even younger people like yourself, oh, it's on the internet? Well, it's a dubious proposition if it's on the internet. Yeah. So, I mean, like if you can invent followers and there's bots on the internet and stuff like that, there's it's kind of tarnished anyway. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it's not for everybody, and I'm one of those people. But a lot of people have a lot of fun with it. They have businesses that need it, and they run their lives on it, and that's that's the 21st century. I mean, that's the kind of job it is. But with me, it's one of those things where I'm okay. I'm okay if I don't get work, if I don't have this or I don't have that. Nobody needs, in my opinion, and I'm I'm an actor, so I'm like, I have the narcissism gene more than most of the other people. I honestly believe this. Nobody needs my opinion on things. Nobody needs to hear from me. Nobody needs, you know what I mean? Like if you enjoy whatever I do, that is cool. Honestly, the actors, in my opinion, get a little bit more attention, as it were, especially in gaming, when I still venerate the developers. You know what I mean? Like the two in all of Fallout 4, looking back, and this isn't a lie, and there were a lot of fun things about the job. Two of my favorite things, and this isn't the whole list, there's other things, but two of my favorite things was, one, hanging out with you, Noah, and Lone. And the other thing was the night before the Fallout 4 launch party in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. Not the Fallout 4 launch party in Los Angeles. The night before, and I think I told you this, was hanging out with a lot of the developers. And some of them brought their, spouses, and I got to talk to this whole table of people that made the game. You know what I mean? Like really made the game. And I remember going bananas over. I remember going bananas over this guy named, I think his name's John. Okay. And he, what's that?
No, I said okay. Okay. I was encouraging you to go on.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. But this guy named John, I think. I don't want to forget his name, but it's been so long, and I'm getting old.
No, but, the ageless wonder.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take that one.
There we go.
Thank you, Matthew. He basically made the game play on consoles. His job was super programming, making sure all platforms played the game. He was like the ambassador of making it work on the PS4 or the Xbox or whatever. You know what I mean? Everything. And I remember going, "Tell me about your job." And he was kind of an introverted, shy fella, and he didn't know what to say. And he's just like, "It's not that big of a deal." "Yes, it is. You're going to make my game work on my console, and this is awesome." I was like going bananas over that guy, and his wife was like looking at me and then looking at him. "See, honey, that's really wonderful." Like talking him up, because he didn't think his job was, I guess, that important. Maybe he did, but like he didn't let on that he was vain about it. He just works at Bethesda, and he did a great job. I remember going bananas over that guy. And the guys, like I told you, that made the sky, the beautiful, wispy, clouded blue skies. And
it's a beautiful sky.
Oh, my goodness. It was gorgeous. The backgrounds, the artwork, the two fellas that were at the table anyway, that like made the rocks and the mountains and the trees and the bark. That was like awesome. That was a good time. And the ham radio time. And so, I mean, it's one of those things where those are some of my... Those are great memories. But in the end, I mean, after it was, it was one of those things where, your life is going to change now, man. And, it did and it didn't. And it was just like, I still audition for stuff. I've been booking, like I said, little animation gigs here and there on like fun shows that are going to, from different studios and stuff like that. And that's always fun. But that came out of auditioning. And I had to go to a callback, and I had to book the job, and I had to show up, and I had to get direction. And it's not magical. It's
okay.
Most voice actors you meet or talk to have to audition, unless they're a celebrity, and even then I don't even know. But unless they're a celebrity, and I mean like a celebrity, they get offered the job knowing that their name recognition is going to produce some viewership or something like that. Most of us have to audition, and it sounds unsexy maybe, but that's what it is. It's what it is. Yeah.
It's work.
It is a job. Yeah.
So that kind of probably makes you feel more comfortable with the decision you made. And I guess in a similar way, I had a situation where when I started to look at some of the really popular creators, and I've never aspired to be like a multi-million follower kind of guy. I just don't think sometimes I have the personality for that. And that's not me even like talking myself down. Just like I don't want to engage as constant as what's required of people on that level. Like they got to be live every day. They got to be doing like X, Y, and Z. Like they're attached to their business. Where I'm like, how do you have room just to live life? And so I personally took peace with saying, you know what? I like where my audience is at. I'm going to try to grow what I have here, but I'm not going to grow at this exponential rate. If I do, we'll handle it when we get there. That'll be crazy. But,
right.
You know, I've still managed to grow my business while kind of keeping a peaceful personal life, which I've been really happy with. And I found similar to you with, you know, Jennifer Hale and being like, oh, she still auditions. I look at a YouTuber I really like. His name's Scott the Waz, and he's huge, you know, and anything he posts, it doesn't matter what. He could write on a napkin for like 5 minutes and it would just do extremely well. And I look at his Twitter and he tweets like once a week about the video he posted, and literally that's it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay, then yeah, right there I saw that. I thought, wow. I mean, maybe he's a special case, but it's like that's what I want. You know, he's just this character who people really like and they find him entertaining, and it's like, when's your video live? And that's it. And so I aspire for that, you know, that kind of thing. And
that's a good way to go, man.
Yeah, I when you see that, you go, okay, there's a
precedent,
healthy balance.
Yeah.
And so I respect that you do that you value your personal life enough to, you know, say we're going to drop the Twitter operation here.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. Twitter isn't inherently evil. I was evil on Twitter. Like, I was the problem. I mean, you know, it's like most people think it's, you know, money is the root of all evil. Money is not. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, right? So It's not money. It's not Twitter. It's the user. The user became the problem. So yeah, that's what it was in my case. But, you know, there's also, like you were getting into, like a year or two ago. I can't remember now. My wife, you know, she's into fitness. She's very fit. You know, she was following a podcast or a YouTuber, and he did a lot of exercise videos that she was like she thought that was kind of cool. They were short. They were, you know, targeted. And she just saw him fall off the face of the earth for a couple of weeks. And then when she went back to look him up, it was like he had to give this kind of apology video or explanation video. Mm-hmm. He had this thing where he thought, hey, I'll just start a YouTube channel and put my exercise my workouts on there, and maybe they'll benefit somebody else or something like that. And then the audience grew. But then he felt such pressure to maintain content, and he felt such pressure to produce. And the moment he was finished and the moment he posted, the moment everybody drank down what he gave them, they demanded more. And then he felt the pressure to keep producing. He like had to walk away. He almost had a nervous breakdown. He was ignoring his wife and kids. And it was just like, holy like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, wow, that can be such a dangerous piece of territory here, you know, like in any podcast, in any YouTuber. Like I'm a gun enthusiast. I like gun videos. Even gun video guys, you know, like or subscribe, you know, hit the thumbs up button and, you know, leave a comment. And then at some points they'll say, hey, man, you know, leave a comment. You know, even if it's like, you know, a bad comment, leave it. And I'm thinking they're asking for trolls to leave comments. Yeah. That's how much viewership they need. That's crazy.
Yeah, because it like bumps up your interaction. Like, you know, a lot of YouTubers go like, if you like the video, you know, you can give it a thumbs up or you can give it a thumbs down. I'm like, don't fucking give my video a thumbs down.
I know, right?
I don't think I did shit to deserve that.
That's the thing. Like, you know, like you were even asking for bad press. Yeah. And it's just like that's a lot of pressure, man. Like I even like toyed with the idea of like, you know, YouTube channel, that's cool, a couple years ago. And then I thought to myself, no, I can't. I don't want to, you know.
It's a lot of demand. You know, it's interesting because it kind of solidifies, you know, one of my beliefs of like, you know, everyone has their calling. And I believe that this is my calling. Like, I think I was, you know, built in a manner of speaking to do this work because I kind of navigated and managed to figure out how to maintain a life where I'm not having breakdowns. I mean, yeah, back in like 2017, I was in like a horrible state. You know, I was very overworked. I did not have a good work-life balance at all. And I literally had to walk away for a little bit of time because I could not, it wasn't for me. I don't feel the pressure because, and I don't want anyone in my audience to take offense to this. It's not like I don't care what people say, but I've sort of developed a thick enough skin where even when people demand something of me, I am aware of it, but I don't let it get to me so much that I feel that pressure. It's almost like like you're stiff arming, like in a football game. That's what I'm constantly doing. I'm stiff arming the fields, just trying to keep my head above water. But yeah, back in 2017, I did not have that balance that I worked really hard on. I've mentioned her a bunch, but I really have to thank my girlfriend for when I had met her in 2018. She sort of encouraged me getting on the right track with the schedule. And some days, like the pressure I felt more than anything was like, I got to get a video out every day. And she's like, what if you just didn't upload for a day? And I'm like, why would I do that? Why in the world would I do that?
That's insanity.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if it applies in the voice actor realm where you're like, why would I pass on this gig? Or, if you freak out, if you don't have a gig for like a week, maybe. Right. I don't know how it works, how work rolls in and how like consistently you're in the booth or not. But for me, it's like I have this feeling of when I make a video, like I feel like I've worked, and if I don't make a video for the day, I feel like I've just kind of sat with my thumb up my ass and did absolutely nothing, and it gets to me. And so she kind of talked me out of that and being like, some days you can just not upload. And she showed me like a bunch of YouTubers like, look, this person uploads once a week, this person uploads 3 times a week, and they still run this as their job. And she's not saying, hey, you can be that person or you should try to be that person. She's saying, though, that you can still find success without having to be like punching the clock constantly.
That's great counsel from your girlfriend, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I owe her a lot for that for sure. But more to my point is finding that balance and stepping away from things has always been a key factor in having a work life that's enjoyable while still liking your actual life. I don't know how else to put it.
Do you mind if I ask some inside baseball on what you do?
Oh, by all means. Well, I thought this was an interview for you, but here we go.
My next question for Mr. Schroeder. This is your job, right? Like this.
Yes.
You make a salary, or you're monetized, so you get
correct
income from what you do as MrMattyPlays.
Yes.
That is incredible. Can you talk a little bit about that? Meaning, like, when did you first make your first dollar?
Oh,
being Mr.
Okay.
Matty.
So,
and how, percentage-wise, proportionally, how have you exploded? Are you a homeowner? do you have a mortgage?
Okay, so
how do you?
It's gonna be a mouthful. All right, so
do it.
First part of your question.
If you're not comfortable with your guest asking the questions, I can.
You're fine.
Chin alone. Matty,
how
do you make money doing what you do?
No.
Yeah.
Much like you, I have a bit of a narcissistic gene in me, so I don't mind talking about myself. I feel like you got to be a little bit of a narcissist to be a YouTuber, quite frankly, because you literally think your freaking opinion matters on everything. I don't overvalue my opinion, but I definitely sit there and go like, oh, I hope this matters to someone. But yeah, for me, when it comes to my first check, my first actual check, this was before partners stepped in to help handle some of the money coming in and setting up ads on your videos. There was just Google AdSense, and Google themselves would send you a check like every 5 months or something. And I remember my channel blew up from Skyrim in 2011. Yeah, 2011/2012. And it was, I want to say, February of 2012. And I got a check in the mail, and it was like a couple $100s. And I mean,
that's
my
awesome.
videos were doing like ridiculously well. And I was like, whoa, I hadn't expect this at all. This is crazy. And, that was like the moment I thought to myself, wow, yeah, this is going to keep, you can actually make money off of this. And originally I had the goal of just keeping it as a side thing and just kind of, sticking with it and going to school, which I did, getting my degree, which I did.
What did you get your degree in?
Oh, nothing special. Nothing special. Just general studies, general academics. Yeah. Just because at this point, when I was going for my degree, I was undecided what I wanted to fully major in. So I wanted to get just like the general academics out of the way. So eventually I would have, if I continued on with school, gone into animal science because I'm very passionate about animals. But yeah, so for me, I was at that point when I was ready to make that decision, the branching path, if you will. I was already at a point where I was making enough to go into full time and to try to give it my all. But I'm not a homeowner. I make enough.
Are you still in the state of New York?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. Yeah, and I do own I should say I rent a office space now, so I have my own little studio.
I saw a video of your new studio build like a year ago or something like that, right?
Yeah, and
6 months.
Or
was it longer than that?
It might have been shorter than that. I'm trying to remember because I was freaking out over that one. I always freak out when I do like a Patreon trailer, which was a big part of growing my audience too, because you kind of build a community there, but it gives you a bit of a safety net that YouTube just absolutely doesn't have. But yeah, thanks to the Patreon and my audience staying patient with me for sure, I definitely had to grow up a lot in a number of ways. You know, like I said, I was listening to our show. I'm like, at one point, I kid you not, like I literally told people like to fuck themselves and jerk me off because they called me clickbait. And I was like, God, like handling that way. I was being facetious still, but like I was, you know, even putting that out into the ether as like a joke to your audience is just so mind-numbingly stupid, and I'm just
that
like,
can be alienating. That can be alienating.
Exactly. Yeah, even if it's sarcastic, which I think a lot of people know I am, it still exactly can be like, oh, this guy's kind of a douche, and that's why I always like. I know every YouTuber or streamer, you know, they're thankful for their audience, but I tell my audience all the time, thank you for sticking with me, because you know I had some bumps in the road along the way before I got to where I am now. And certainly I'm not saying there's not room for improvement, but I think I'm in a good spot right now, where I'm making good content. I think I'm a little more mature at this point in time without overstepping drastic boundaries like I used to when I was younger. And, that kind of comes with growing up, but yeah, in a long-winded response to your question, I could probably like rent like if me and my girlfriend like put our salaries together, I'm sure we could, rent out a house or something like that. I'm not like some of these YouTubers who are actual millionaires. I like to define it as, I'm in a good spot financially where I'm comfortable, but, I actually, to my surprise, I met a viewer or a listener at GameStop, and I've met people at GameStop before, and one time I did, and the person asked me like, don't you get your games for free? Like, what are you doing here? And I think
that's the question. That's right? Like that's your equivalent to, don't you get offered roles by
exactly?
No, you go out and you buy the game.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, look, man, like I may have a job and I may be comfortable enough to pay for some of my bills and take care of what I need to with some leftover money to store in savings. But I was like, I still use GameStop to like trade in my games. I still need that trade credit. It's why I'm a big advocate for keeping GameStop around. They seem to be kind of going downhill.
What's going on? My local GameStop's closing. I rode by and I'm like, store closing. They're selling the light fixtures. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I love that shop.
Yeah. So they've just, because downloadable games have risen so much and everything's digital nowadays.
So brick and mortar GameStop, game shops are going down, huh?
Yeah, they're struggling, so they're gonna have to condense, and that's why I'm a big advocate for like, well, hold on, like number one, people don't have that great at internet. Number two, I personally, I know many others make strong use of their trade-in stuff and making sure. I mean, could you sell stuff on eBay and get the money that way? Yes, but I guess having it within a system and GameStop will have some kind of cool trade-in offers at times. But more to my point, while I may be in what I consider a pretty good position, I definitely still make use of systems like that because you just want to be foolish, and they're certainly really helpful. Okay. But that would be my response to your
well done
question.
Now you're gonna. All right. My next question was, when are you going to get married? But I won't put you on the spot with that one.
Oh man,
are you engaged? Are you going to announce right now on this interview that you're engaged? Oh, okay.
I wish.
Your girlfriend's either going to be ticked at you or me. I don't know.
I know, right? Because I was going to send this her way, and now I'm like,
oh, no. I don't know. Given what you've said, you speak very highly of her. She's a good consigliere, a great counselor, a very, very wise person.
Well, yeah. What more can you ask for, right?
There you go.
not only just a beautiful woman, but a great partner who
Wow.
supports you in all you do. And
Going, Matty. This is good.
And
This is
just
good.
yeah. See, I'm saying this because I'm envisioning her listening. She was steaming a little bit over. Well, we'll get engaged down the line, and she's like, "What a piece of crap!" Oh, but he's saying, "Hold on, he's talking me up. He's gassing me up here." So
You speak very highly of her. It's very wonderful. It's amazing that she's on your journey since 2018, and she's helped you make some healthy decisions. It sounds like she's the one. So
yeah,
well done.
I would say so. Yeah, thank you. Took a while.
Oh. Nope.
Took a while.
You're gonna have to buy a ring. No, I'm just.
I know.
This is no pressure. This is no pressure.
I'm feeling it now.
I'm a fan of being married to a wonderful woman. So.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be, right?
I'll let you off the hook, pal. I'll let you off the hook. This was my plan all along.
She would be a big fan of you.
Let's move on for your own comfortability.
Oh, I'm fine. I'm chilling here. Like I said, no pressure on my end. I'm feeling all right.
Awesome.
Man, yeah. I had another question for you, but it has just escaped my mind in our minor distractions.
Let's just we won't get into it because I know that there was a thing with a guy in a place, but let's just say that we miss Lone. And
yes,
this is it's not quite a reunion. It's the main. There's 2 of 4. We're half a reunion. It's okay.
It's like, we were getting together for a holiday dinner, but, Uncle Johnny Roses couldn't show up.
I know, Johnny Roses. Oh, that's a question I had for you. When did you see him? When did you see his face for the first time? Was it at E3 2016?
It was a little bit before that. He had sent me and this actually is going to be a cool, as you would say, inside baseball story, because I don't think anyone knows this. We had said we know what Lone looks like. That was like one of our biggest things for our podcast, like just knowing what Lone's face was. He had said he went on vacation with his girlfriend, and we were like, Noah and I were just joking with him. Like, sometimes we do give him crap for it, but like at this time we were just like, oh, send us a picture of where you're at. And like, we're thinking, another passing joke about Lone's secret identity. And then all of a sudden it's like, I remember it was like really late. It was like 2 a.m. I'm about to go to bed. I just get a picture from him, and it's just him with his girlfriend. We're like, what the hell?
Wait, like
now this man's posting selfies all over the place. Now he's on the map.
I know.
Which is a wild thing. But yeah, the first time I'd seen him, and only time I'd seen him in person, now that I think about it, was 2016. And my goodness, when we had met, I remember you being like, man, you're kind of quiet in person. I know. So tired.
Oh, okay.
I was tired. It was my first E3. I was an overwhelmed young boy. I was nervous. Would Brian like me in person, or was I just a good internet personality? You wonder those things, right? And I let it get the best of me. So hopefully if E3, it got canceled this year, if it comes back, I'd like to redeem myself. But, as it stands, the only time I saw Lone and his face was over those pictures and at E3.
And at that E3 at 2016?
Yeah. Had you seen him before
No. I mean, that day. I mean, I don't know when you saw him, or if you saw him earlier in the day. But
that must have been wild.
He told me to meet him at somewhere on the floor at the convention center for E3, and he kind of looks, and I remember thinking to myself, I expected kangaroo-ier. Like, I just don't remember. I was thinking, like that voice, and I put it to the face, and he looks like a Persian prince. You know what I mean? Like I expected, for some reason, I expected Thor. I don't know why, but I expected something completely different, and then I thought, my goodness, he's like swarthy and roguish, and he looks very nice in a sport coat. Like, that's the first thing I thought.
Dresses well.
Yes, he dresses very well. He's a very sharp dressed man. But yeah, I remember thinking, like, that's so crazy seeing everybody. I kind of, I knew what you looked like. I didn't know you were that tall.
Oh yeah,
you were like a skyscraper.
Everyone seems, that's why I hear this all the time. I always say to my family, I just would not mind being like just 2 inches shorter.
Really? Inches. You want to be shorter?
Yeah, because like I get, not like you've annoyed me, by the way, but everyone's always like, oh my God, you're so tall. And I'm like, what the hell do you want me to say? Like, I'm talking about in the face to face, like, wow, you're tall. It's like, wow, I know. Thank you for putting me on alert on something.
You and Noah were very tall, and I remember thinking, like,
Noah is gigantic.
Goodness, yeah, he looks like, holy mackerel, is he a bouncer? He was like a And it was just like, wow. And he wore glasses again. He still wears glasses to look a little bit more bookish, I guess, because if he didn't, he might look like he was going to pound me or something. Like, it was awesome. It was like, yeah, you were very tall. That's why that's one of the things I thought, like, like, wow, I now know what Johnny Roses looks like. By the way, Johnny Roses.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a
With
second?
that accent, I mean, he has the perfect name. I thought to myself, like, you like shoot 'em up game, you like Bethesda and get games with guns. I thought, like, you should have a new podcast called Guns N' Roses or something like that. Like, you got to do something with Johnny Roses, Johnny Down Under.
Yeah, he has a very brand worthy name,
right?
And it's funny because, like, when it came to, we don't really get ever fan art, so to speak, but when we did get it, it was always of like a kangaroo who was jacked or chiseled, because no one knew what Lone looked like. Right. And so it was just like he was our core or the heart to our show. It's funny. I don't think he realized that. I don't think he knows that how much he brought to the table. For me, I was kind of just the host who, and I still play it like this with Karak. I was the host who just posed the question or brought the conversation to the table, because I have like 6 other videos a week to kind of just run my mouth. I usually like to set the stage for other people to talk, and so I used to just kind of pose the question and let Noah Lone or whoever was guesting kind of run with it and go wild. But I don't think Lone realized the same thing with Noah, how much they both had their own impact. One thing I can say is without Noah, we don't have that comedic kind of off the walls humor. Like, I'm just it takes a lot for me to just not be like a straight shooter. Like, sometimes it has to. It's really weird. It's something. It's like my next attempt to fix myself, as I would say, because I sometimes, like, someone will like crack a joke and I just won't even realize, because I'm such a hard-on straight shooter. It's to my own deficit. And I'm just like, all right, I gotta loosen the fuck up here. And so I'm getting better at it, but at first it's deliberate. Eventually it'll come naturally.
There you go. I mean, it takes time, man. To be honest, having Lone, interject his comments and like have that Australian flavor. You know what I mean? The down under flavor always helps. And then there's Noah with his arc greased bar chapstick. Like that was always fun.
I can't even remember that.
But anyway, onward and upward for everybody. Everybody's seems to be doing well, and that's always good. I'm glad I got to check in with you.
Yeah,
but what else is going on? What else is happening? What else do you want to know?
With you? Oh man, what don't I want to know?
My wife is still beautiful.
I was gonna say
she's over Lone.
Oh yeah. Oh my
God.
God.
What else did we talk about? It is amazing that it's been 5 years. That is amazing. Yeah.
It's crazy because we sort of just hopped on a call and picked up like it was yesterday.
I know, we're like buddies.
A sign of true friendship.
It's an East Coast vibe, man. You have the East Coast.
It absolutely is.
East Coast U.S. vibe. But yeah,
you come from the city of brotherly love, right?
That's right. So, that's right. Philadelphia. Yeah, I'm from Philadelphia, and you're up there in. I won't say where. But... Sorry.
I was in Philadelphia. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah, about 2 years ago. It was at the beginning of 2018.
What took you there?
We just wanted to go on a guy's trip and just like explore the city and.
Oh, cool. Where'd you eat?
It was crazy. Oh man, I can't. Oh, the dogs want to chat a little bit. It seems. But yeah, honestly, and they'll just keep barking. So I'm gonna try to maintain focus here while they pop.
You're an animal scientist lover. So yeah.
We went to a kind of a pub thing. I couldn't tell you by name any of the restaurants we went to, because what stuck out to me most about Philadelphia, and I want to know if you had a similar experience, is this has to be one of the most, like, when it comes to walking the streets, it's one of the most empty cities I've ever been in. Was it like that for you? Like,
it depends on the night. It depends on the day. I mean, it's in downtown, the center city on a work day, you'll have a lot of, foot traffic. If it's, if you're on Walnut Street and you're going from pub to bar or something like that on a Friday or Saturday night, you might get some foot traffic. Old City had a lot of foot traffic. During the day, you might have, around like, the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall and Betsy Ross House and stuff like that. You might have a little foot traffic, but it's definitely not what you see, in New York City in movies where, it seems like everybody in the universe is just walking somewhere.
I guess that's what I was accustomed to, right? Because in New York City, it's just like, oh my God.
It's a mob scene,
I can't breathe. But in Philadelphia, I remember we made like a walk from a restaurant to, I forgot, we were going to a market. You would probably know it. It was this, I don't know how to describe it. There was a specific word, like a market square that was like a huge line of vendors of like various foods and
was it like South Philadelphia, the South Philly, like the Italian market?
No, it was like like they had like a pastry place from France, and they had
is this like was it
seafood?
Like Donardo's? Did you go to Donardo's?
Maybe. I wish I remember the name, because
if it was upscale, it might have been Old City. The Old City were there a lot of cobblestones in the streets, if they still have them?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. You were probably Old City, yeah.
Yeah. And so I remember we made the walk from a restaurant to this market essentially, and there was like 2 people we passed on the road on like a 10-minute walk, and it was the weirdest thing. I was like, aren't we in a city?
What time of day? What day of the week and what time of day?
Day of the week, it was a weekend.
Oh, okay.
And it was around, we'll say 5, 6.
Okay, that's
we
weird.
just ate. So yeah, it was maybe even earlier than that, because we had left that day too. We had gone there and then we left. So we may have been even around 4 o'clock. It was just something that stuck out to me. Granted, now this may play a factor, my friend. It was the winter time. It was January.
Okay, well that definitely is a thing. It's it's not a super crowded foot traffic city, but if it's cold, if it's that could have been a factor. But yeah, I miss the food. I hope you ate hearty.
Oh, absolutely.
I love food.
Yeah, I don't recall what I ate, because like for example, I haven't been there enough to establish traditions. What do I want to do? What do I want to eat? Boston, I've gone there like 4 times now. And I love Boston.
Awesome.
City vibes me well. But every time I go there, I go to this seafood restaurant called Legal Harborside. And they just have this delicious seafood there. And they have a lobster bisque that just hits very well. And my goodness. And I just, I have traditions like that, right? Like I could tell you what I ordered right off the menu from various restaurants in Boston. But I have yet to establish my presence enough in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I got a cheesesteak.
Oh, you gotta. Where'd you get it? You remember where you got it?
Yeah, because there was, what I specifically remember is there was this like rivalry. There were like, you Google. Yeah. Yep. Right. There were these, there you go. Yeah. Because there were these 2 cheesesteak places and they were directly across the street from each other.
Yep.
And right when you look up online, like, which do I get? It's just like those 2 at the top, back and forth.
Yep.
And you're like, so am I winning either way? One of the places was closed. So.
Oh, which one?
I think it was.
There's the one that has all the neon. Gino's has the big neon frontage.
Yeah, there was one that was kind of like a diner on the inside. Like it had the old-fashioned stools, and it kind of had like a bar up front.
It's been so long. I got it standing up. Left. I got Whiz Wit from Pat's 15, 20 years ago. I stood up and got it. Did you order it properly if you went to Pat's?
Hold on, what's ordering it properly?
Like, Whiz Wit, like Whiz Wit. I want cheese whiz with the cheesesteak, wit onions, because you say wit. Whiz Wit. Because if you got to order it, it's not like the soup Nazi or anything, but it's fun to order it with like, the Philadelphia, the Philadelphia flavor.
Right.
But yeah.
Straight shooting Matt was like, Philly cheesesteak, please. Just walked away waiting for my order.
Oh, a tourist. Oh, boy.
Yeah, but I managed to get some cheesesteaks. How long has it been since you've been to Philly? You said 20 years? Like,
that was the last time I've had a cheesesteak. I can't remember. I went to Philadelphia for a wedding, my cousin's wedding.
Okay.
Gosh, when was the last time I was there? It's been years. It has been years. My parents live in Florida now, so I've been to Florida sooner than I've been back to Philadelphia. I like LA.
Really? Okay.
I do like LA.
See, okay, this is a great conversation point.
Okay.
And I hate to bring it up again, but me and my girlfriend go back and forth with California, living there.
Okay.
I went to LA for E3 multiple times.
Right.
And, downtown LA, I should specify.
Mm-hmm.
Not the biggest fan. So I need you as someone who, you like LA. Like, you like it enough to be like, Philly, I like LA. I need you to, what am I missing? Because she has told me, like, it's not as bad as you think. And I'm like, I don't know. I've experienced what I thought was LA.
Well, here's the thing. What do you want out of LA? Just to live here?
Well, for her, yeah, to live here. I guess for me, maybe there's more career opportunities, maybe, because you get to network a little bit more. A lot of events I've traveled to have been in LA, but now they're starting to set things up in New York.
Yeah. So
I don't know how viable
is your girlfriend is she a performer? Does she want to move here for a career in,
No.
Did you talk about this? If you don't want to talk about it, I understand.
No. By all means, no. She does makeup. She's like she does freelance work for that. So I guess she could find something in like an acting business, quite frankly. But she also
is she a makeup stylist?
Yeah, she does that. Like she does like pretty much art on people's faces, and it's really, really, really cool.
Cool.
But she's also like an illustrator. She's getting her degree in illustration.
Very cool.
She's got a lot of art talent, and so I feel like it would probably benefit her more than me. But like I've always wanted to get into voice acting, right? And so yeah, absolutely. That's kind of something I don't want to say I'm waiting for the right time because that's kind of like a procrastinator's famous last words. But I definitely, it's something I've played with. I've done like little things like, YouTube radio shows where I'll be a voice in someone's show or mods, and just very little work in the scheme of things. Nothing paid, of course. But each time I did it, I was like, that was fun. But I know I'm not like trained. I don't know how to control, pardon me, my voice. I don't have. I swear I didn't have coffee. That wasn't coming back up on me. But I don't have that trained voice. But it's something I've always toyed with. So yeah, like going to LA would be beneficial for me. Maybe if I took that route. But I also don't have like talent or an agency. I'm not special like that. I don't know what that's like.
It's not. It's not special.
I would love to just be at like a dinner with a friend, and you're just sitting there, phone rings, and I see Brian just take it out. Oh, it's my agent. Hold on, I've got another gig. Be right back.
I got to go out to the car to record a commercial copy for a radio spot. It's here's the deal, man. I mean, I like California. There's certain things about California I don't like. Mm-hmm. There's certain things about Los Angeles I don't necessarily like. It's very expensive to live here. I mean,
right.
The sales tax on items that are taxed is like 9.75%. A fixer-upper in the Valley could be $650,000 to buy a house here.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's there's different aspects of living here. I mean, I like the Valley. I'm a Valley guy. Some people might, you're either a well, I don't know. I'm making up categories, but there's people that love Venice. They love the feel of Venice Beach. They love the people and the community there. There's people that love, more, not many. I don't think anyway. Many people in my profession that are like in downtown LA. Most people are either, the upper echelon. I call them the aristocrats live in like Calabasas, Agoura Hills, different places. Some of them live in Malibu. Some of them live along like Topanga Canyon. It's those are the nice swank places, but most people live in the Valley. I live in the Valley, but it's expensive to live here. It's a weird time. I mean, this weekend, if you were to move here, nobody would be around. If you think there was no foot traffic in Philadelphia,
oh man,
I mean, There's people like mobbing the stores right now, but yeah. Anyway, there's certain things about it. I like it. I like the weather.
Okay.
Like if after you've been here a year or two, your blood will be different. Like 65 degrees will be like, I need a sweater.
Yeah, and that's an East Coaster saying that. So
yeah.
I believe you.
The first year I was here, I hadn't transitioned into having my blood close to the surface or anything like that. The first winter, I'm going out in flip-flops and mesh shorts with a t-shirt, and everybody's wearing coats and scarves, and I'm like, what's the problem? This is awesome. It's 58 degrees in December. It's great. But it only took a year or two, and I was just like converted. I mean, everything. The weather's gorgeous here. I love the blue skies. I like being in the car. Like if you're not used to traffic, you're not gonna like it here.
I was gonna ask.
It is traffic, man. It's like everywhere is an hour away. Like you got to get if you live in Santa Clarita Valley and you live in the middle of Santa Clarita and you got to get to Burbank, it's gonna take you about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours if there's what's called a SIG alert, which is a lane closure. Everywhere, like if I have to go to Lowe's, all right, honey, I'll be back in an hour. You know what I mean? Like, it's a 15-minute drive, but I'm like, I don't know how long I'll be. I'll probably be back in an hour and a half. I'm only exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, I like certain things out here. Now that I have kids, I mean, you could take them to 90 different places. Like my wife and I took them to the Autry Museum of the American West and saw their exhibits. You can go to the LA Zoo. You can go to museums on Museum Row. You can, I was disappointed with the beaches because when I first moved here, I was just like, I saw movies and Van Halen videos with David Lee Roth singing California Girls and the water's ice cold. It's rocky. I used to, I met my wife in Wildwood, New Jersey. Beautiful, big, soft sand beaches where you can body surf and not be afraid of riptides all the time. And the water was like 68 to 72 degrees in August. It was beautiful.
Wow.
Out here, it's ice cold. Now I know why everybody wears wetsuits to surf because it's like really cold water. And I never knew the traffic patterns of water that, like, when I was a kid, I went to Wildwood, New Jersey on the beaches. We get the warm water that, rushes up from South America. California, we get the water from Alaska because that's how that rolls.
Okay.
But yeah, so
I learned a little bit there. I did not know that.
Yeah, neither did I until I moved here. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I had to look it up. But yeah. Hey, Judah, what's up? Come here, baby boy. Come here.
Oh, we have a special guest.
You say, a special guest. Can you say, hi, Maddie? Say, hi, Maddie.
Really?
Oh,
That's awesome.
Can you go back? Can you go back to Mama? What do you need, buddy?
This is a great moment.
Yeah?
We're listening in live on Brian T. Delaney, father.
You say, bye-bye, Maddie.
Bye-bye, Maddie.
Oh,
goodbye.
Maddie says bye-bye. Go back to Mama. That's Maddie. That's what he looks like. Well, that's what he looked like 5 years ago. All right. Thanks, honey.
Not masculine, Maddie.
Bye-bye, Judah B. I love you, buddy. Sorry, pal.
No, you're good, man. Are we? Am I holding you up?
We gotta wind it up. I am so sorry. We gotta wind it up.
That is no problem at all. No
That
problem.
was my youngest. That was my youngest, Judah.
Aw.
And he said hi, Maddie. He's 2.
Wow.
Yeah, when I booked Fallout 4, I had 2 kids, and
I was gonna say I remembered 2 being the number.
Yeah, and by the end I had 3, and in 2017 we were blessed with a 4th, and you just kind of met the 4th one. But yeah, I forgive me for doing this to you, pal. But
oh, dude, we had an hour planned. We're 20 minutes over.
Okay, cool.
You gave me more than your time, more than enough of your time.
Rather, all right. Well, it was great to catch up with you, man. And
absolutely.
Say hey to Loam next time you cross paths with him. I should email him. I don't know what I did with his email address because I don't keep things. I don't keep contacts. I'm like a weirdo. Like if I don't write it down in my book because I'm like old, I lose it. But like, if you hit him up, tell him to, you can shoot me an email so I can lock and load it in my contacts. But yeah, tell him I said hey if you talk to him.
I can shoot him or shoot you his email.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, just to
please do that.
Chime in. I'm sure he'd love to hear from you.
But yeah, I'm glad. Man. I'm glad you're doing well. It's really nice to chat with you, buddy. It's
absolutely.
It's nice to catch up.
Long,
I know, right?
We have to stay in touch. I gotta know how the mini Delaneys are doing. Sprinting around the house and
Indeed. Well, all right, pal.
All right, we're going to wrap up the show. We hope you guys enjoyed this very special episode of the H.A.M Radio Podcast, and we'll be back to a much more boring, normal one next week.
Thanks a lot, Matty. Take care, guys.
Take care. See you guys later.
Bye.